All right, today we're diving into something fundamental, something that's at the very core of what makes us alive, the molecules of life.
Okay, I want you to picture your favorite food right now. Seriously, a burger, some sushi, a big bowl of pasta. Have you ever really stopped to think about what it's made of? Like, on a molecular level?
Well, it turns out that pretty much all food, and in fact all life, is built from just four major types of very large molecules. We call them biomolecules or macromolecules. These are the literal ingredients that make you, well, you.
And to really get a grip on this, we're not going to start with the complicated stuff. Nope, we're going to build them from the ground up, starting with the smallest parts, to see how they assemble into the incredible structures that keep us going.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can build anything, we need to know what ingredients we're working with, right? Let's look at life's basic chemical recipe.
The first big idea we need to tackle is something called an organic compound. Now, don't let the name fool you. This has nothing to do with the fancy aisle at the grocery store. In chemistry, organic just means one thing. It's got the element carbon in it. And carbon, oh, it is the absolute star of this show.
Now, life uses a bunch of different elements, but the vast majority of all living matter is built from just these five. We've got carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. You can even remember it with the acronym CHOMP. Kind of sounds like chomp, which is pretty fitting when you think about it.
So why carbon? What's the big deal? Why is it the backbone of pretty much all life as we know it? Well, it all comes down to its incredible knack for making friends, chemically speaking, of course.
Okay, so here's carbon's superpower. It can form four super strong, super stable connections with other atoms. We call these covalent bonds. This lets it create these long chains and really complex rings. It basically forms the carbon skeleton that everything else gets attached to. It's like the ultimate, most versatile Lego brick in the universe.
But here's the thing. All these cool carbon structures can't just float around in empty space. All of life's chemistry, every single reaction, happens on one absolutely critical stage: water. Without water, none of this molecular magic could happen. Period.
So what's water's secret? It's something called polarity. You see, the oxygen atom in a water molecule is a little greedy. It pulls the electrons closer to it. This gives the oxygen end a slight negative charge, and the two hydrogen ends a slight positive charge. It basically turns every single water molecule into a tiny little magnet.
And because they're magnets, they love to stick together. That's a property we call cohesion. It's what creates surface tension. But they also stick to other things, and that's called adhesion. You put those two together, and that's how a giant tree can pull water all the way from its roots to its highest leaves, totally defying gravity.
This whole magnet thing also makes water an amazing solvent. I mean, they call it the universal solvent for a reason. It can surround other charged molecules and just pull them apart, dissolving them. This is absolutely key. It's why your blood, which is mostly water, can carry all those nutrients and waste products all around your body.
All right, now for one of water's weirdest but most important tricks. Unlike almost everything else, when water freezes, it actually expands. It gets bigger. This makes ice less dense than liquid water, which is why ice cubes float in your drink, and more importantly, why lakes and oceans freeze from the top down. That layer of ice acts like a blanket, insulating the water below and protecting all the life in it.
Okay, quick recap. We've got our elements, especially our superstar carbon, and we've got our stage, which is water. So, how do we actually start building the big stuff? Let's check out the rules of construction.
The whole concept is actually pretty simple. We start with these small individual units called monomers. Just think of a single Lego brick. Then, when you link a whole bunch of those monomers together, you get a giant molecule called a polymer. That's your awesome Lego spaceship or castle.
So how do our cells actually snap those Lego bricks together? They use a process called dehydration synthesis. Sounds complicated, but the recipe is super simple. You take two monomers, you pull out one tiny water molecule, and click, a new bond forms. You just made your chain a little bit longer.
And what about taking things apart? Well, you just do the exact opposite. It's a process called hydrolysis, which literally means to break with water. So this time you add a water molecule to the bond. The water splits and snap, the bond breaks. You've got smaller pieces again. This is literally what happens in your stomach when you digest your food. All right, we've got the building blocks, we've got the water, and we've got the instruction manual for how to build up and break down. So now it's time for the main event.
Let's meet the four major players, the big macromolecules that make up you, me, and every bite of food we eat.
First on our list, carbohydrates. You've definitely heard of these. Their monomer is a simple sugar, like glucose, and their main job? Quick energy. When you eat bread, pasta, or fruit, you're loading up on carbs, and that's your body's go-to fuel source for a fast energy boost.
Up next, we've got the lipids. Now, you probably know them as fats, oils, and waxes. And yeah, they're great for long-term energy storage and keeping us warm. But honestly, their most important job is forming the membranes of our cells. Every single one of your trillions of cells is held together by a lipid barrier. No lipids, no cells. It's that simple.
You've probably heard people talk about saturated and unsaturated fats, right? Well, the difference is just some simple chemistry. Saturated fat molecules have these straight carbon chains, which lets them pack together tightly. That's why they're solid at room temperature, like butter. But unsaturated fats, they have these kinks or bends in their chains, so they can't pack as tightly. That's why they're liquid, like olive oil.
Okay, number 3, proteins. And if carbs are the fuel, proteins are the absolute workhorses of the cell. I mean, they do everything. They're built from just 20 different types of monomers called amino acids. They form your muscles and hair. They act as enzymes to speed up chemical reactions. They fight off diseases. You name it, there's probably a protein that does it.
And that brings us to our fourth and final group, the nucleic acids. Their monomers are called nucleotides. Now, this group might be last, but it is definitely not least, because it includes the one and only DNA and its trusty sidekick, RNA. These molecules are the blueprint of life itself. They store all the genetic information needed to build and operate an entire living thing.
Whoa! Okay, that was a lot, I know. A real whirlwind tour of life's essential molecules. So, is there an easy way to keep track of what's in each of them? You bet there is. Let's wrap up with a really simple memory trick.
Here it is. Just remember this little code: CHO, CHO, CHON, and CHONP. Let's break it down. For carbohydrates and lipids, just think CHO. That's carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. For proteins, you just add nitrogen, so you get CHON. And for our nucleic acids, you add phosphorus at the end, giving you CHONP. See? CHO, CHO, CHON, CHONP. Super simple.
So when you boil it all down, here's the biggest takeaway. In biology, structure dictates function. It's everything. It's just mind-blowing to think that from just a handful of elements and these 4 types of molecules, nature builds the entire incredible diversity of life on Earth. So the next time you sit down for a meal, just think about it. How are these simple chemical shapes being taken apart and rearranged to build the impossibly complex, amazing machine that is you?